Thanks very much for clicking on to today's live stream for Sunday. What day are we on today? It is the 12th of May. A very warm welcome to everybody from wherever you're joining from this afternoon. Skies have clouded over. There is a little bit of threat of a shower or thunderstorm in the area here in Edmonton, just above Inverness in the northern half of the UK. Hope everybody is having a good weekend, a good Sunday afternoon. Certainly has been a very interesting past few days when it comes to the Aurora Borealis, the strongest geomagnetic storm in, I believe, 21 years took place and created some out of this world Aurora Borealis displays. So I'm just getting myself a little bit organized. I do apologize for the slight delay. And hope everybody is having a good one so far today. So just bear with me a second here and I will be alive and kicking. So, Aurora Borealis. Sorry about this. Okay. So, like I say, very good afternoon. 91st edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report live stream. It is just after 5 minutes past 4, and we have 10 concurrent viewers in the live stream. Very warm welcome to McIntosh, Paul, James, Katrine. We have got, have we got anybody else at this moment in time in the live chat? At the moment, no, but I'm sure there will be more coming in the next wee while here. So we've got 16 concurrent viewers at the moment. Did you happen to see the Aurora, especially on Friday night? It looks as if Friday night was the big night for viewing pretty much up and down the length of the UK. Up here across the north of Scotland, it's relatively common to see the northern lights at some point. I'm lucky because I drive up and down the A9 between Glasgow and Inverness during the overnight period. So I'm very fortunate to get the chance at this time of the year to see the noctilucent clouds and also the Aurora Borealis and other phenomena now and again as well. I'm quite fortunate to be able to see that. Very warm welcome to Paul James from sunny Hampshire. Paul, what is your weather conditions down there in the Hampshire area? It was beautiful and sunny here through the course of this morning, and then it's kind of clouded over as the afternoon wears on. We're expecting to see showers developing through the next few hours. I think here the air is quite juicy. It's quite humid. I think we're sitting in around 21.6 at the moment here. I also want to say a massive thank you to Lindsay for moderating this afternoon's live stream. I do appreciate Lindsay's contribution. Did you happen to see Weather Talk episode 2? It was an interview with Scott McIntosh, and Scott McIntosh happens to be the Deputy Director of the National Centre for Atmospheric Research. He spoke for about an hour and 23 minutes with Lisa Pattenden. So obviously Lisa is also a moderator here in the channel. She's been a tremendous support to myself, and she made it possible to get the interview with Scott yesterday. It was released here in the channel. It is lengthy. It is quite technical. It is quite scientific. Not for everybody. I appreciate that because not everybody's interested in solar science. But certainly from a solar science point of view, he spoke a lot about the sun, the solar cycles, how those what actually is solar cycles in the first place. We're obviously in a solar maximum at the moment, hence why we've seen the strongest geomagnetic storm since, I believe, 2003. And we've seen the tremendous display of northern lights all the way down as far south as parts of the central United States, Central Europe. I believe there was tremendous displays over the Alps of Switzerland over the last couple of nights as well. Not just as prevalent last night. It looks as if, like I say, Friday night was the big night. But anyway, I'm digressing already. A massive thank you to Lisa and to Scott It wouldn't be a video, it wouldn't be a live stream, and it wouldn't be an uploaded video if it wasn't for me mucking up my lines at some point in time. So I'm sure you will, you're well used to that by now. But a massive thank you to Scott and to Lisa for making yesterday's second edition of Weather Talk possible. Now, incidentally, I will, if all going well, be chatting to somebody from the Met Office at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So that next interview should be next Saturday, and it will be somebody related to the Met Office. So that is a little hint. I'm not going to disclose who it is, but I'm going to be talking to somebody from the Met Office in Exeter, Devon, tomorrow afternoon, and I'm delighted to say that that interview should hopefully be available next Saturday afternoon. I'm trying to make a Saturday afternoon the day to release the Weather Talk interviews. So that is interview number 3 coming up, hopefully recorded tomorrow afternoon, and will be released next Saturday here. Very warm welcome to Adam Blunston as well. Hi everybody, and hi Marv Vogan. Hopefully it is going to get hot summer this year. So yeah, Adam, the jury is very much out, my friend. We will look at some of the models in just a second here. Mark Kinnish goes on to say as well, Mark, a question to ask you, is it true with El Nino to La Nina can cause us sometimes to get a 2007 type summer? That is a good point that you make, Mark. I think the only thing I would say to that one would be the transition between El Nino and La Nina is quite important. Now, how quickly do we go from El Nino to La Nina? This is going to be a live stream that we're going to look in a little bit more detail with regards to the developing La Nina. There's been a lot of building cold water, subsurface waters that appears to now be starting to show up, certainly based on satellite information. It looks as if it's starting to show up at the surface now over the eastern portions of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. The SOI, or the Southern Oscillation Index, which reflects the atmospheric state of the ENSO, so that is the atmospheric pressure between Darwin and Tahiti. When the atmospheric pressure we've got lots of negatives, that tends to mean that the atmosphere is reflective of El Nino. When there's a lot of positives, it tends to reflect La Nina. And we will look at the SOI in a little bit of detail quite soon. Yeah, very, very interesting past few days. Paul James says 25 Celsius, partly cloudy and warm sunshine. You make the most of that, my friend, because it looks as if low pressure is going to become the dominant player through at least the first half of this work week coming up. This isn't really the place that I'm going to be talking about the day-to-day weather coming up. We'll have the details of that in tomorrow's normal European outlook, so stay tuned for that. Today's video is really primarily going to be looking at some of the long-range stuff, looking at the prospects of La Nina developing here. Now, transition years from positive to negative in terms of ENSO can lead to cooler and wetter, especially as you go through the second half of the summer. I think some of the best weather we may have during the course of the summer may be early on. We'll look at June and see what some of the long-range models are indicating in a little while. We've got 18 concurrent viewers at the moment. A very warm welcome to everybody. Do me a favour, hit that like button and let myself and YouTube know that you're enjoying the content. It also helps the algorithm of the channel as well. Have you subscribed to Marv Vogan Weather here on YouTube yet? If you're interested in all things weather and interested in long range, looking at the summer, looking at the big picture, how we get a certain type of weather pattern here in the UK, Ireland and further afield, this is the channel that I try to look at that and the details. Looking at the hurricane season, we'll talk about that in a little while as well. So Katrina's saying it's 23 Celsius, partly cloudy sky and a sunny day down where Katrine is. I think many areas are enjoying sunshine. There is thunderstorms blowing up actually. Let's have a very quick look at the visible satellite image, because that is quite interesting to see what the atmosphere is showing. So obviously we've got that area of high pressure. that is moving to the east. I do apologise, sorry, I hit the wrong button. That area of high pressure that has been dominating the majority of the past week is now moving eastwards. That is going to allow weather out to the west over the Atlantic to start moving our way, and that is exactly what we're going to start to see. So warm, juicy air over the UK at the moment. As we see the frontal system from the west moving in, it's going to destabilise the atmosphere and produce showers and thunderstorms. Not everywhere, but where you do get them, you will certainly know all about it. And you can see that we do have quite strong, or should I say, high cloud tops, parts of Wales, up across parts of Northern Ireland. We've got some flash flooding, I believe, at the moment in parts of Northern Ireland, and also up the western side of Scotland, possibly the Western Isles as well. We are seeing showers and thunderstorms. Certainly the skies are quite grey here at the house this afternoon. Quite a big difference compared to what they were earlier on this morning. So this is the current radar image of weather online, and if you looked at the satellite here, you can see it quite nicely reflecting where the showers are developing. So we've got these kind of brighter white colours representing higher cloud tops. The higher the cloud top, the more atmospheric lift, and the bigger downpours, likely embedded thunderstorms, hail, gusty winds. So it's up the western side of the province that we're seeing some very lively thunderstorms at the time of recording. So skip back to the radar, and you can see here those lines of bright colours representing some very, very lively showers in this region of Northern Ireland. And like I say, Western Scotland. I'm just about here, so just north of Inverness. Appear to be high and dry at the moment, but there is showers just to the west of my location here. We are seeing a line of showers and thunderstorms really from just east of Cardiff, almost up the spine of Wales, up towards and maybe just to the west of the Llandudno area. We've got a few showers over the southern uplands, parts of Lanarkshire, the western borders, a few over the tops of the Pennines at the moment, but cast your eyes to the south of the Channel, and you've got some pretty lively thunderstorms over northern portions of France at the moment here. So, and we also have Lisa. Lisa's actually in Italy, and I appear to have Lisa moderating from Italy this afternoon. So, very, very warm welcome to Lisa. And thanks again, Lisa, by the way, for that interview with Scott. I really do appreciate all the hard work and patience, by the way, that you have with me, because it's a bit of a joke, actually. I do have a very, very poor understanding when it comes to technology. Lisa has been more than patient with me in recent times, and I really appreciate the tremendous help and support she's been. But hello from Italy. Lisa, what is your temperatures where you are, if you happen to know? I'd be curious to find out. What's your weather conditions at the moment here? You'll be interested to know it is very grey at the moment in our neck of the woods, because Lisa actually lives just across the Cromarty Firth on the Black Isle. And she is down in sunnier climes at the moment here. So very warm welcome also to the Hazel Nut. Very warm welcome to you. We've got Stal, east coast of Northern Ireland, still dry, 20 Celsius, hazy sunshine. Yeah, certainly further west, Stal, we've got some very heavy thunderstorms up Fermanagh way, and up the western side of Northern Ireland. We've got a lot of Tyrone, County Fermanagh. That area of Northern Ireland is seeing some fairly lively showers. A very good afternoon to Mr. Gavin Partridge. He's just released his 10th summer update. I actually couldn't believe, Gavin, 10th summer update. It's hard to believe that is 10 weeks that you've been doing your summer updates, my friend. You've been doing a terrific job. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on Gavin's channel. I'm sure most folk have. He is doing a great job over there at Gav's Weather Vids, and we certainly appreciate his contribution to the weather community. 22 Celsius, says Elisa. Also, Iwan or Ivan, is it? I always get a little bit nervous actually. See, when I'm trying to read out on the live chat, you really have the opportunity to make a right muck of it with regards to names and a pronunciation. So I do apologise. Do not be offended. I also want to say a little thing here, by the way, just before we get into today's content. Just a little subtle reminder that, remember, everybody's got different forms of knowledge and different levels of understanding of weather and climate and space weather and whatever it is. I do want to just say that appreciate everybody's opinion. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. And I just want to say that little piece before we continue with today's video here, because there has been a couple of times in the past that I've noticed maybe a few people getting a little bit excited or carried away with things. Some folk know quite a lot about the science, other folks do not, and all I'm asking is, let's all respect everybody else's opinion, and we'll leave it at that. Yeah, I'm gonna maybe just hold on with that one, because I'm gonna even make a bigger fool of myself. I believe whereabouts are you from? Ewan, is it Ewan? Is that the right pronunciation? I don't know. We'll see. I thought you might be from Wales. A very warm welcome to you, my friend. I do greatly appreciate you taking the time out your busy Sunday afternoon to check out the live stream and listen to my usual waffle. We're getting very close to the summer, aren't we? And I'm getting excited to release the 2024 summer forecast here at Vogan Weather on YouTube. It will be released on the live stream on Sunday, the 26th of May. So that is going to be when the summer forecast is released. It will be released live here in 2 weeks' time. So I do hope that you can be available on that day, and we'll talk about the summer forecast. By the way, in terms of my opinion, what do I think the summer is going to be like? I think we're going to have a back and forth kind of summer. Okay, so we've still got a warm Atlantic. The Atlantic has cooled off a little bit, by the way, in recent times. It's nowhere near. It doesn't have the same blowtorch marine heat wave type scenario that we had around this time last year. Remember May and into June last year, we had the incredible Mediterranean-like June last year. We've got cooler waters to the kind of north and to the northwest of the UK, warmer than average further south. So we've got a different SST profile this time compared to this time last year. What kind of atmospheric response is that going to have? That is going to be the question. And we will look at the long-range models in a little while. But I think it's definitely going to be a back and forth kind of summer. I think we're going to get heat spikes. No question about that. I did not expect a 26 here at Vogan Weather HQ yesterday afternoon. That was way warmer than I expected to see. And if you look back at last year, ironically, you had to go back to all the way to the 14th of June for the last time, for the first 25 Celsius or above. So it came on the 10th of May this year. It took a month or over a month after this date last year for the first 25. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I know what I'm trying to say, and I hope you do as well. So anyway, what is everybody up to apart from the fact that you're watching me on the channel? I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Hope you're being safe in the sun. Are you applying that sunscreen? Remember to protect your skin. Drink plenty of water. This is summer-like warmth, even though we're still in springtime. Be safe in the sun, because it is very important. It's not necessarily now, but it's even later down the road with the response of your skin if you get sunburn, etc., etc. I'm not a dermatologist, but so I'm, but all I'm saying is try to look after yourselves out there. Enjoy it, but also it can be rather dangerous as well. So I'm going to continue to kind of look through over the next 5 or so minutes. We're going to look at the live chat, see any more new folk that have appeared on the live chat. 42 concurrent viewers, by the way. Hit that like button. Let YouTube and myself know that you're enjoying the content here. Massive thank you once again to Lisa and to Lindsay for moderating today's live stream. Couldn't do it without you folks being supportive and helping me out. So thank you very much for that. And as I've already said, try to check out that interview with between Lisa and Scott McIntosh yesterday. That is available in the Weather Talk section on the playlist. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the chat that I will have with the All Will Be Revealed name next Saturday. But I think you will enjoy it. I'm pretty looking forward to getting this chat and releasing this next weekend. I think it's gonna get a few folks' attention. So yeah, should be good. So yeah, let me just quickly check. Mr. Fantastic, hello to you. I don't think I've shouted you out so far. Whereabouts is Mr. Fantastic viewing from? Hope you're well this afternoon, my friend. So yeah, and the link, by the way, to yesterday's interview, that is also in the live in the description below today's video, so you can click on that link and go straight to that video at your leisure. So, anywho, have I missed anything out to start with? No, I don't think I have. I think I've covered everything. So let's get into today's video, or live stream, should I actually say. I'll get that right. And let me see what we are looking at. So anyway, this is the current or latest global temperature anomaly for the first 12 days of May. So this is how we're looking globally at this moment in time. We'll look at the details of La Niña, some of the long range in just a second here. So we've got quite a cold western side of Europe, or western side of Russia at this moment in time. Doing well today, aren't I? You can see here, very, very chilly start to May across the western side of Russia. Central Europe, warmer than average. The UK and Ireland is firmly warmer than average. We've got a warmer than average eastern North America, northern North America. Quite a chilly western half of the lower 48. If you notice here, Alaska has been below average. We've got quite a lot of heat across parts of Mexico. We've seen some outstanding temperatures into the upper 40s, for example, in parts of Mexico in recent days. The ongoing heat continues across parts of Southeast Asia, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. That area has just been tortured week after week, month after month of above average temperatures. Australia, looking like that the anomalies are starting to come away. Remember, this was the month of April, where we had quite a cold April in Australia. So far in May, it looks as if we've got a bit of a kind of 50-50. Cool in the centre, warm in the surrounding areas. So Western Australia, northern and southeastern areas of the country are seeing above average for the first 12 days of May here. Africa, we've had some actually a little bit of a cooler than average start across northern Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa is warmer than average. Equatorial Africa, especially central and western Equatorial Africa, is running warmer than average at the moment here. We've got blues in parts of Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, for example. Enhanced rainfall here. We've got, remember, higher convection over the Western Indian Ocean. That is bringing rains to parts of East Africa. We've also seen wetter than average conditions and slightly cooler than average across parts of Saudi Arabia, Iraq, into Turkey. We've got Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, all the stands. We've got a little bit of warmer than average in the north side of that, but down in Iran, Pakistan, India, northern and northeastern India is cooler than average. We've got southern portions of China that's below average, but we've got a firmly warmer than average north. Also, we've got quite a warm anomaly across Mongolia at this moment in time. Across to Brazil and South America, we've got firmly warmer than average across the vast majority of South America, with the exceptions of, what would that be, Argentina and Chile. We've got quite a cold start to the month, but elsewhere, the majority of South America is running warmer than average. I still think the atmosphere is somewhat El Nino at the moment, even though we're starting to cool the equatorial eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific. We are cooling that down. It still takes a while for the atmosphere to respond to that change in the sea surface temperature profile. Where the Atlantic is warm, we've got a warmer than average air mass, and there's no great surprise there. We've also got cooler than average across western portions of the North Atlantic basin, and that is reflective on the air temperature as well. Greenland's had quite a cold start of May, if you notice here as well, which is quite interesting. Let's look specifically at Europe and look at how cold Western Russia is compared to the vast majority of the continent here. We're already starting to turn those anomalies, those cool anomalies that we've seen a few days ago over France, over Iberia. We're now starting to change that around, if you notice here, and seeing average conditions slightly cooler across parts of Spain, far northeastern Portugal as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if we just see this anomaly change to warm in the next wee while or so here. Still cool and average across central and northern Sweden, and Finland has had a very chilly first half to May, as you can see, but not quite as extreme as we're seeing in western Russia. So yeah, let's have a look and see. Threw up a couple of maps here on an article here that I'm going to look at. So I want to actually slightly touch on the Aurora Display, and let's have a quick look firstly and see some of the images that folks have captured in recent times here. Let me just have a quick check to see if there's any new images. Don't want to leave anybody out. I said if you share your images, I will share them on the live stream. This is John Wallace here showing some tremendous displays. Possibly Friday night it might have been, but Kilrea in Northern Ireland. This is some of the outstanding views of the Northern Lights. The kind of purpley colours, the greens, just outstanding views from John here in Kilrea in Northern Ireland. So let me have a quick check and see what else we're looking at here. This is an interesting tweet here by Stephen Cheatley here, based in Lancashire. This is actually over the M6 motorway. You can actually see in the distance Lancashire services here. So I know this area pretty well. What a display that is. Great capture by Stephen Cheatley of the Aurora over Lancashire services and the M6 motorway from Friday evening. This is a capture by Shrine Bruin Photography. Shrine does some tremendous work for Gav's Weather Vids, great contributor, and he took this image here from Ballynafae Church in Kildare on Friday evening. So tremendous colours, outstanding. The amount of different colours is just out of this world, actually. So a tremendous capture by Shrine on Friday evening from the Kildare area of Ireland. Let me see. This is amazing. Check this here out. This is a tweet here by Cole McGowan of the Aurora from the International Space Station. And then there's There's the moon. Would it not be amazing to see that in real life? A bit weird, the noise, I must admit. That's a little bit creepy. But then again, it's in space, so why would it not be creepy? And then here's the sun coming up. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Just, isn't the planet just an amazing place? This is images here sent by Anthony from the Halifax area of England on Saturday, looking south. And that there actually doesn't look real. I know it is real, but just unbelievable. Like I say, it's like out of this world stuff. Because it is, obviously. It is. But, yeah, amazing stuff. Noise It. I hope that is the way that name is pronounced. Noise It sent me this from above the house in London. Now, what's amazing about this as well is you don't often see these kind of displays, because this is a very, very rare thing to see, really. You don't often see this kind of display. Really don't really see the Northern Lights hardly at all in the southern half of the UK. It's typically up in this part of the world and north, up into Scandinavia, Iceland, northern Canada. But to see it as far south as the south coast of the UK, central areas of Europe, the southern United States, for example, amazing stuff. And I have to show you this. This is Lisa's image. I think it's our first viewing of the Northern Lights in over Ireland. So, amazing image captured by Lisa. And yeah, she looks pretty darn chuffed there. And I would be pretty darn chuffed if I was able to capture that amazing capture. Noise It is... So it's Lisa's mate. Sorry, I do apologise. No offence, I hope, to your friend for the horrible pronunciation. Yeah, I've already said enough about that I make a fool of myself with regards to some of these pronunciations. This is also amazing, by the way. This is a tweet here by Matt Taylor showing the Northern Lights over the Swiss Alps, I think it is. Quite a lot of snow still up there, by the way, which is quite interesting. But yeah, some amazing captures, especially the reflection of the Northern Lights on the snow cover. Just the light all bounces off that reflective snow cover. Amazing stuff, actually. And like I say, this is the biggest solar storm. So this is a tweet here by the BBC from a couple of nights ago saying that forecasters at NOAA issued a rare severe geomagnetic storm watch for the first time since 2005, and then obviously you see these this donut of oranges here representing where the Northern Lights are going to be seen. But yeah, the Northern Lights were visible all the way to more southerly latitudes than you would typically expect to see. So yeah, she won't mind. Thank you. Like I say, please don't take offence by some of the pronunciations, by the way, folks. Don't take it personal. It is just my ignorance, I'm afraid. But anyway, so yeah, some amazing captures of the Aurora back on Friday night and indeed last night as well. And we are going to continue looking at today's content. Hit that like button, share with your friends and family, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I do greatly appreciate it. Thought I would talk a little bit. So I showed you some of the pictures. I wanted to show you this little graphic here by NOAA showing the event. A coronal mass ejection is an eruption of solar material. When they arrive at Earth, a geomagnetic storm can result. Watches at this level are very rare indeed. Timing, several CMEs are anticipated to merge and arrive at Earth on the 12th of May. So we had this big release of solar energy, release of materials off the surface of the sun They have then shot off the face of the sun and hit Earth's atmosphere, creating these Aurora Borealis. Very, very crude description, but obviously, as I said a little while earlier, that not everybody understands what all this is, including myself, by the way, but I'm trying to share it as accurately as possible, but also as simply as possible so that everybody understands what is going on in a little bit more of a way. So the effects in the general public should visit our website, blah, 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 blah. Aurora become visible over much of the northern half of the country and maybe as far south as Alabama to northern California. So yeah, it takes a massive CME, flare, whatever you want to call it, geomagnetic storm. It takes a very, very strong eruption at the height of solar maximum, which obviously Scott, in yesterday's video description down below, talks a little bit more in detail about. But it's when you get these solar maximums, you tend to have the increased chance of seeing the Aurora Borealis. Now, also, some interesting stuff talking about this graphic here shows the explanation in terms of the different colors. So again, very, very crude explanation, but I just want to say that excited atomic oxygen at high altitudes. So those kind of pinky colors that you've seen in the sky, according to this graphic anyway, it's from 150 miles above the surface, only visible under intense solar activity due to low concentration of oxygen at high altitudes. So the greeny colors that were visible up to 150 miles, so the pinky colors I think are above 150 miles, the greeny colors are up to that level. Excited atomic oxygen at lower altitudes. Green light is emitted instead of red due to higher concentration of oxygen. And then I'm not going to go on. Well, yeah, the graphic actually is just about to end anyway. So up to 60 miles, ionized molecular nitrogen. The reaction involved molecular nitrogen because atomic oxygen is uncommon at low altitudes. Similar to red, blue, and purple, is associated with intense solar activity. So, yeah, just wanted to share that with you. I hope it was relatively clear. I hope it was accurate what I was saying, because I've got a couple of folks that know a little bit more than I do. Lisa, for example, knows a little bit more about this kind of stuff than I do. So anyway, let's move on. I think I got through that not too well, I hope. Let's have a look and talk a little bit about La Niña here. This is also going to be a rather quick skim over because we don't have all day. I'm actually conscious of the fact that it's nearly 4:45 already. Wow, that time has certainly shot on past. We'll continue on anyway. So this is the current sea surface temperature profile of the oceans globally. And like I say, a lot of cold water from just below the surface was lurking. Now we're beginning to see that cold water from just below the surface rise up to the surface here. And we are going to start to see in the coming weeks to come that La Niña signature showing. And then the question mark is, how quickly does the SOI start to go from firm negative to firm positive? Negative, El Nino, positive is La Niña here. So you can see that we do have some reasonably warm waters across the North Pacific. Central and Western Pacific Basin, by the way, is very, very warm, if you notice here, whether it be the North Pacific or the South Pacific here. Very warm sea surface temperatures at the moment here. Look at the Indian Ocean. That is fairly warm at the moment. And we don't really have a clear-cut signal for any cool waters developing off Sumatra as well at the moment here. But I think these warmer than average waters up against the Somali coast is probably going to enhance rainfall. It also could be supportive of enhanced tropical wave development over the equatorial portion of Africa as well. That incubation, that genesis region over the Ethiopian highlands, that's going to enhance buildup of thunderstorms. And then when you've got that easterly African jet develop, then sends all those waves of tropical disturbances across the African continent, out over the Atlantic, warmer than average sea surface temperatures. The atmosphere is going to be conducive, especially mid and late season as well. You've got the cooling waters of the eastern equatorial Pacific. That tends to lead to sinking higher pressure over the Pacific, but reduction in the winds at high levels over the Atlantic, the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico. Once you reduce those winds, those hostile winds, in combination with the warm waters of the tropical Atlantic, that's all energy and fuel waiting to get drawn in, and you could have a very significant season coming up here. Remember I showed you also the temperature anomaly being colder than average across the western portion of the Atlantic basin. Look at the sea surface temperatures. They're actually quite cold to the east of the lower 48 at the moment here as well. So, like I say, what atmospheric response is this warm or cold water is going to have? That is going to be the golden question. So anyway, let's move on. This is the CDAS 0.5 sea surface temperature anomaly here. So this is the NOAA version. This is the CDAS data. So this is the based on the average of 81 to 2010 here, and you can see the overall idea. There's the cold waters now starting to develop, show up much more over the eastern equatorial Pacific. 36 concurrent viewers. Hit that like button. I would do greatly appreciate it. This is a 7-day change, by the way, in the sea surface temperature anomalies. Let's have a quick look and see if we can blow this up just to make it a little bit easier for you to be able to see. And we can see what it's showing here. So we've got, in the last 7 days, we've had some very significant cooling over the Sea of Japan, for example. This area just to the south of Japan, we've got cooling. Overall, it's a bit of a 50-50, I think, in terms of warming versus cooling over the Pacific. But then again, you have to take into consideration the cooling that we're seeing in the last 7 days along the Peruvian coast and off the South American coast in general. Now, we've warmed the waters slightly in the last week or so to the southwest of the UK and Ireland here, possibly indicative of higher pressure, more stable air, less mixing, so therefore you allow those waters with the incoming solar radiation to warm the surface up a little bit here. When you've got wind or cloud cover, that tends to dampen that process. Wind also helps raise the upwelling levels as well. We've kind of cooled quite a lot over the Atlantic, especially the central and western portion of the basin. South Atlantic's cooled a good bit. We've had a little bit of warming to the south of Cape Verde, as you can see here as well, which is rather interesting. Let's move on. This is the 12-month change in sea surface temperatures according to the CDAS data anyway, and we've had quite a significant cooling to the south of Russia and Alaska and to the west of Canada here. This ribbon of warming here in the central, we've got some significant cooling in the last 12 months off the west coast of the United States as well. There's the change between El Nino and La Nina right there in front of our face, the cooling off the South American coast in general across the western, the southeastern portion of the Pacific basin here. We've warmed things up somewhat in the Indian Ocean, as you can see, still warm across and near to the dateline, as can be seen here as well. So let's continue to move on. Niña region 3.4, so that is the main benchmark region that is measuring the ENSO, whether it be positive. If it's 0.5 above average over a 3-month period, that is deemed as El Nino. We have 0.5 below average over a 3-month period, that is La Nina. Now you notice here that we have seen waters go from over a degree above average to pretty much bang on zero. So it's bang on neutral at the moment in the Niña region 3.4. This is Niña region 1.2, which is the area closest to South America. And you can see here that we've seen quite a drop from +1 to actually -1. So we've dropped the whole 2 degrees from +1 to -1. Then we notice here that we've got a bit of a rise back to slightly above average. Then another drop. I don't know exactly the reason for that. Maybe we lost the strength of the easterly trade winds, for example. That allowed a little bit of warm water to regain some sort of coverage of the far east portion of the Pacific. I don't know, but there has been a kind of sharp drop, as you would expect, then a little recovery, and then another sharp drop once again. I would expect to continue to see this drop off in terms of the sea surface temperature anomaly over the far eastern portion of the Pacific, the tropical Pacific. This is Niña Region 4, which is further towards the date line. You notice here we've got quite a uniform half a degree to 1 degree above average here. So still very warm in Niña Region 3.4. By the way, I said about the Atlantic cooling a little bit. So we went from 0.5 above. There has been a kind of gradual drop in the sea surface temperature anomalies over the North Atlantic in the last wee while. A little bit of a drop, a little bit of a rise once again. But overall, it's nowhere near as warm as what it was at this time last year. Global temperature anomaly running roughly close to half a degree above average at the moment. So that's the overall global temperature. This is the C3S, by the way. This is the ECNWF. This is the mean sea level pressure anomaly. Now, this is the problem that we have when it comes to forecasting this upcoming summer. So this model indicates that we have above average heights across the majority of the UK, Ireland. The position of that will determine air mass distribution. For example, further north, we might have more of an easterly wind. That could be cooler, but sometimes it can be warmer as well. Especially, cooler against the east coast. North Sea, still relatively chilly. Get winds coming in off the North Sea. It tends to be a little bit cooler. You have more fret or har on the east coast. Further west, tends to be warmer. The question mark is, what is going to be the month of June? Again, we'll continue to look at that in just a second here. So let's have a quick look through the live chat. Peter is joining as well. Good afternoon to Peter. Do greatly appreciate you taking the time to check out today's live stream. Thank you very much for that. Did I say hello to Matthew Orchard? I don't think I did. Hello, Matthew. Very warm welcome to you, my friend, as well. Don't think is there anybody new on the live chat at the moment here. We've got William as well. Thank you very much, William, for checking out. Hi, Mark. All good. Thanks for all your ideas. Thanks from Wills and Catherine. So very warm welcome to William. Thank you very much for tuning in this afternoon, yourself and your wife. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. So let's continue on with the content today, and then we'll kind of try to start the round up slightly here. So this is the C3S multi-system run for the June through August. This is the temperature anomaly and also precipitation anomaly as well. And you can see that it is largely warmer than average across pretty much all of Europe, actually. Now, it looks as if it's indicating a very, very warm summer for the central and eastern Mediterranean basin. Warmer than average across the vast majority. We've got some slightly darker oranges across northern portions of the UK here versus further south, which is quite interesting. Precipitation wise, this is quite interesting because it's indicating here. Remember, this is the June through August period, folks. Look at this here. It's indicating above average precipitation between the UK and Iceland. That indicates to me lower pressure, and it's indicating drier than average across Spain and Portugal. That is not good news, by the way, for the drought situation down here. That would indicate stronger high pressure, possibly Azores up towards southwestern Europe, lower pressure further north. So could it mean that we get pushes of very, very warm air into the southern half of the UK at times across the majority? But it's going to be the battle here between high pressure in the south and low pressure in the north. Could be a bit of an Atlantic type summer, back and forth. That is, I believe, where I'm going with this summer, is the back and forth between cool and wet, warm and dry here. This is an interesting one here, by the way. This is the ECMWF Plus UK Met Super Blend Rainfall Anomaly. And this is what I'm talking about with regards to the Atlantic hurricane season. Look at how wet across the maritime continent, by the way. So a phase 4, 5 MJO is possible. That could be a warm signal, by the way, for eastern United States and also Western Europe. Also, the concern is wetter than average across the main development region of the Atlantic, into the Caribbean, up into the Gulf of Mexico, and drier across the eastern equatorial Pacific, indicative of that La Niña. That is quite a La Niña looking rainfall distribution here for the June through August period, because you've got wetter than average in the Atlantic, drier than average in the far eastern portions of the equatorial portion of the Pacific Ocean. Very wet across Southeast Asia. Hopefully that'll temper the heat down in this region. Also looks as if it's going to be an above average monsoon season for the subcontinent, Asian subcontinent, that is. Also wetter across equatorial Africa. That was what I was talking about a little while ago as well. So that's quite interesting to see. This is wind gust anomaly. This is quite an interesting one here. Also the super blend model. You can see here that the UK is seeing average in England, but below average wind anomalies over Scotland, Northern England, Ireland, Northern Ireland here. So that would indicate possibly higher pressure. Possibly, I don't know. How much significance this has, I don't know. Looks as if it's showing windier conditions across parts of far northern South America, into the Caribbean, for example, here. So yeah, I don't know how much significance really that actually has. It looks as if it's trying to indicate some quite windy conditions, but this would be the case if we enhance convection over this region here, north of Indonesia, into Southeast Asia, across India as well, with the monsoon probably generate windier conditions also. So yeah, I think I've covered enough for today's video anyway. There is going to be plenty coming up this upcoming work week. We're going to be looking more at the summer prospects. Remember, it's only a couple of weeks now. Exactly 2 weeks today, the summer forecast will be released here on the channel and on marvelingweather.com as well. We're going to also be looking at the day-to-day stuff as well. We're going to have a breakdown in the weather starting today in some areas. That breakdown is going to become more prominent as we move into the early portions of next week. But wouldn't be surprised if higher pressure builds back in for the final 5 days, 10 days of May as well. So this break in the high pressure domination may be short-lived, and we may actually see a return to higher pressure and drier than average for the end of May. So we'll wait and see what happens with that anyway. But let me just have another quick check to see if I've missed anybody out. Still got 38 concurrent viewers, by the way. Greatly appreciate that. Thanks for hanging around this afternoon. I hope you have enjoyed the content here on the channel. And yeah, hello to Carol. I've just seen Carol's name pop up. Watching while making the dinner near Stirling. Hoping for good farming weather this summer. Yeah, Carol. Warm and wet, I think that would be pretty decent actually. I would or cool and wet. I don't know what is best for farming. Carol, you let me know what you think about that, and anybody else for that matter as well. Also check out Gav's live stream. That's going to be at 6 p.m. this evening. I do hope to tune in to that myself, but do support Gavin on Gav's weather vids. I'm sure he'll be talking about his 10th summer update. I'll be quite intrigued to see what he's got to say about that. Super heavy rain here now in mid-Wales as the ground is dry. Some flash flooding could be possible downstream. And yeah, Ewan, is that the right pronunciation? That's the problem you have as well. So we've had so much wet weather, then the top level of the soil starts to dry with simply a week. Obviously, there's a lot of water in the ground, especially further down. But that's the problem when you start to have a week of drier conditions and sunshine. The top level starts to kind of harden. And then if you have this downpour, that really is a bad recipe for localized flash flooding, for example. So yeah, that is the problem that we tend to have. So my wife, whenever someone talk about the weather, Peter, what does Mark say? Yeah. Sometimes I kind of remotely know what I'm talking about, and other times I get it wrong, but I certainly do try my best. I think April played out not too bad. May's playing out not too bad as well, I must admit. But the big test is going to come next month when we start off meteorological summer. Isn't it hard to believe that we're nearly in summer already? We're nearly 6 months into the year, halfway through the year already. I think as you get older, time just seems to speed up. Yeah, I think most folk would probably agree with that. So yeah, I'm going to round up there. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will be back tomorrow with the European outlook for Monday. So stay tuned for that. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Bye for now.